In this tutorial, I'm going to talk you how to use 2D design to make a own design. Now, first of all, we need to open up 2D design. So if you open that up, okay. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set out the background, okay. If we set the background to be the kind of maximum size you're allowed, then you know anything is okay. So how do I do that? Well, at the top, I go to where it says Setup, down one to Drawing, and then across to where it says Layout. So Setup, Drawing, Layout. I'm going to click on there. Now this sometimes can take a little second on mine. So okay, when it comes on yours, we're going to pick User Defined, and we're going to go with I think 50 by 50. Okay, so 50 mil. Here we go. So I'm going to say User Defined, and I'm just going to say that. Change that to say 50. This is the material size, and also do it on the design guide as well. Otherwise it looks really strange, you get sort of strange red lines around the outside. Okay, so 50 by 50 and then 50 by 50 and say OK. Alright, now I know that now that anything on there will fit and is the right size. Okay, so I'm going to just switch off, looking at my toolbars over here. I'm just going to unclick step lock, otherwise it will try and lock it, okay, to various points on there where I want to be a bit free about what I want to. Okay, so what am I going to do with my keyring? Well, the first thing is going to have a hole. Do that now. So if I go over to the left hand toolbar, if for some reason that's disappeared or is not there, if you go to view, you should see that these three here are ticked. Okay, so if that's vanished, just go there and retick. Obviously that's the top one, that's the one to the left, that's the one to the right, should be missing. Okay, so if I hold the circle tool down here, oh, sorry about that. Let's try again. Hold that circle tool down there. Go to the second one across that says draw a circle with a given center and radius. It's got like a big R next to it. Okay. Now, when that comes up, he says, let's just try again. I'm just going to have to unselect it and try select it again. There we go. It's asking me what size. Now, I want that to be 2 mil radius. Okay, so it says 2.00 mils radius and just say OK. Now I want that to be in red, so I'm going to go up to the top here, so it says line col, and click on col, and just pick the red. I'll say OK. Now that's going to cut, okay, a hole. Now obviously I don't want to be too close to the edge because otherwise material will snap. So I'm just going to plonk that about there. Okay. Now, not to worry if you want to move it somewhere else. Obviously it's just a matter of picking that up and moving it. But I just want to pop that in there. Okay, so you can see that that's how we do it. Now, the next thing, I need to pick a picture of what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to go to the internet. Okay, and I'm going to start a Google search. So let's just go all the way back to Google so you can start fresh. Let's just get rid of that. Is it going to do anything? Here we go. So I'm back to Google. Okay, so I want mine to be, let's do Dougal Dog. Okay, all right, there was a little cartoon when I was a child and it was called Dougal Dog. So we're going to do that. So type in Dougal Dog and go to the image search. Okay, and that's going to bring up lots of different images. Now, some of them are better than others in terms of us being able to use to laser cut. Because remember, when we're laser cutting, we're kind of limited to the number of colors we've got. Okay, so I'm going to go to Tools. And then under Tools, okay, American spelling, Color, okay, I'm just going to click black and white, okay. So, all right, so I can see this nice sort of straightforward ones. Obviously, there are photo ones, okay. I could have a go at doing one of those. Might not work as well, but I'm just going to go for something kind of as simple as possible, okay. So I'm going to go for this one here, okay. So I'm going to click on that image, and when it comes up, I'm just going to go right-click and go Copy. Okay, now just a word of warning, sometimes when you copy and paste the images, they don't work. When you paste them in, it'll just be completely black. If it does, obviously then I'll come back a step and pick a different picture. Okay, so that's the one I'm going to try. So I'm going to minimize that down, back to here. I'm going to go right click and say paste here. Okay, now as you can see, as it's coming, it's massive. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the minus, and zoom all the way out until I can see the whole image. All right. Now, while it's still selected, because you can see it's selected, it's got the little yellow sort of dots around it, I'm going to hold the shift button. Okay, now on your keyboard, there should be a shift on the right, and like a big arrow pointing up the way. Now, while that's being held down, I'm just going to grab one corner and just sort of shrink that down. And you'll notice I can't change the proportion of it. So even if I sort of shrink it that way or go that way, it's always the same proportion. All right, and that's useful, otherwise it might look stretched or squashed or something like that. So I'm just going to bring that all the way in to about there. Okay, and I can move that now, just grab the middle one and put it onto my space. Okay, I'm going to zoom back in again. Okay, all right, so there you go. So I've got my picture on there, okay, with a circle. Now there's a couple of different things I can do here. If I cut this out at the moment, all it's going to cut is that circle and it'll etch this. So I'll have a big piece of wood with a little dougal shape on there and a hole. Okay, so I need to draw around this. Okay, and there's a couple of different ways of doing it. The easiest way is just grab a rectangle. Okay, and just sort of go from corner to corner like that. Okay, and that will now cut round the outside. It will engrave the little picture on there and it will draw the soft. Okay, now depending on the image that you've got, okay, you might want to have a go at doing something called a contour. Now I can see this image, for example, won't work. Now a contour, for it to work, just point where the button is. This is the contour button here. Okay, so let me show you why it's not. If your image has got one solid line all the way around the outside, your contour might work. Okay, this one won't. So I'm just going to click on there, change it to 0, so it contours actually on the line. Make sure you've still got red selected, and then you just click the outside. Okay, and what it should do is you should draw a line around the outside there for you. Okay, now obviously if I did it on this one, it would draw around there and it would go through here and the whole thing will be red. If you've got lots of red lines, it's just going to fall to bits. Okay, now what I can do to help the computer is I can vectorize the image. So go up to bitmaps, down to the very last one that says vectorize bitmap, click on there, and I can change it. So I can say, right, let's make it monochrome. Okay, I always click on monochrome and I just move this a little bit to the right just to make it a little bit darker, and then say OK, and then OK again. All right, now this has turned the image from an image into like a series of dots. Now once the computer's got a series of dots, it's got something it can work with, so it'll actually have a go at drawing around it now. So let's try again. So contour, back on 0, say OK, click the edge there, and you'll see, look, it's drawn a red line around the outside. Okay, however, once it's got to this bit here, it's gone all the way around the inside as well, and then all around the inside here. So if my thing looks like that and I go to cut it, it will just cut all these bits here out and the whole thing will just fall to bits. Okay, top tip, if you make a mistake and something's not quite right, Control Z, you only have once. Okay, so if you make a mistake, stop, Control Z, don't try and compound it. Okay, the other way you can do things is as you're working along, obviously you can go File, Save As, and you can give things Google Keyring. Okay, give it a name, save it. Okay, and then at various points, you know that's like when you're playing a computer game, you've got a save point. So if it all goes horribly wrong, you think, well, actually, I preferred how it was before. You can just close that off. When it says, do you want to save it? Say no, and just reopen it. Okay, so that's another way. What I will try and do is I will try and find a better image that will actually contour around. So let's have a go. Let's see if I can find one. Now, I wonder... Okay, well, let's try this. So, okay, rather than going for this image here, okay, if I click on that image, that should, fingers crossed, take me to, let's see if it's worked or not, okay, hopefully to a better quality picture. So I'm just going to see if I can find, so it's the same. Is this going to work? I'm just clicking on it. So what I want to do, I don't even know what the options are here. Okay, I'm never happy clicking on something if I don't actually know what the language means. Let's try. I think they're all going to be the same. So if I'm not getting anywhere, let's try a different website, one that I'm a little bit more comfortable with. Is there any other ones? Let's try this one. Or is it the same way? No, that's the same website, isn't it?